is in Latvia, where we started this work by doing work with a bank in Latvia. So it starts out with another bank story actually, and I think there's no that wasn't by accident. I think that banking forms a basis. It's level one in the 7 levels of consciousness. It's about money, and we have to get this money thing healthy in society in order to the other levels to then grow out of that. So I think it's not a coincidence that many of our stories are around banking right now. So this bank, who are owned by the government in Latvia, they're called Hypoteku Bank, they, through their visionary chief executive, Inisis Feiferis, they started work to look at, like, who are we as a bank, and how do we serve the nation, and how do we serve our employees, and how do we serve our customers, because that was the language he was already using when we first had these conversations. And we did values assessments with them to help them create this new level of awareness. And what happened was they started to change, and there was an energy, a buzz that was happening around their change. And because they were government owned, the government started to recognize that buzz as well. And so in August of last year, I was invited over to go and open a conversation with the government of Latvia about how they could measure the culture of a nation. And in fact, it was a really interesting 4-hour, they'd asked me to do a 4-hour presentation to help them understand what this was about. And at the end of the first 2 hours, we were just about to take a break, and I told them the story of a values assessment we had done in Miami. Now, that in Miami, the people in Miami had this new project called Imagine Miami. They wanted to create a new society for Miami. There are 2.4 million people in Miami. In Latvia, there are 2.3 million people. And so the similarities between these two stories were amazing. And we took a break, and I was expecting at the end of this break to go back and present the other 2 hours worth of material I had. And this group, they went into a huddle, and they started talking in Latvian, in their native language, and I didn't understand any of it, but there was an energy coming out of it. And we came back from the break, and I said, okay, we're ready to go again. They said, stop. They said, you don't need to say any more. The story you just told about Miami means that we understand what this is about now, and we just want to do it. So when can we start the survey? So we did a survey, and we surveyed different demographic groups within Latvia, the native Latvians, the Russians living in Latvia, the age groups, the different groups. And Richard and I went to deliver the results of this assessment in November last year, and things went very quiet, and we didn't hear a lot. I heard kind of rumors about things that were happening, but in the intervening time, what has been happening is that they've been running public workshops. They've been working with experts inside the nation. They've actually, during this whole period, they've had to face the government not being able to agree a budget and being kicked out and having to form a new government, having a new president and a new prime minister, and riots in the country because they were unhappy about what was going on. And during all of this, we had just delivered the values assessment results, and the president of the country called the project director with the values results and said, I don't understand what's happening with the people, and I don't understand where we're taking this. And Robert Killis, the project director, sent the president the values assessment results and said, read these, and then you'll understand. That was exciting to hear that. And what's happened since then is Roberts has told me this is the first time in modern European history that a country has developed its own strategy for the transformation and sustainability. So this is called Latvia 2030. They're building a new plan that, in fact, tomorrow, on the 17th, where are we now? The 18th of September, will be presented to the European Union in Brussels. And if it's ratified by the European Union, it then goes back to the Latvian Parliament. If it gets ratified by the Latvian Parliament, it becomes the planning document for all the government departments for the next 25 years. And as he said, this is the first time a European nation has taken this and done the entire plan internally, which is why it's been quiet for us, because they've been doing all this work and they've been doing all this planning. I'll stop a second. And the amazing piece is that it all comes from the values assessment. And you look at their planning document, and it has the title of the document, and underneath the subtitle is Starting with Values.